Welcome to Inside Abode, ladies and gentlemen. How y'all doing? I am your host, Dave Jones, and thank you for tuning into the podcast. Season 9, we are here. It's lit. We got guests everywhere. We got Abodes up on here. We got community members. We got everything. Before we get started in today's conversation, I want to invite you to subscribe to the podcast. It's free. We drop in gems. We drop every week. Please just subscribe. If you're listening right now, just subscribe. And if you are already subscribed, thank you. I appreciate you. It's dope like that we get a chance to connect like this. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me at davidjones@windermere.com or just hit the little comments in the poll down there or whatever if you're on Spotify. And if you're on Apple, just go over to Spotify and do that if you want to do that, or just hit me up via email. Today, we're going to have a really, really good conversation because we're going to be talking about selling in 2 markets. And one of our Abode OGs is going to talk to us today. He has been in the real estate space for 6 years. He's one of our OG Abodes. And he's a husband to Leanne. He has a couple pugs. He wears a backwards cap all the time. And he's just him. He's just Shock. So Derrik Shockman, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm great, man. It's been a minute. I haven't been on the pod in, I don't know, man, over a year, I think. So I'm glad to be back and have a good convo.
Yeah, it's been a minute, man. So thank you. So thank you for taking time to come on. You're in sunny Las Vegas. How sunny was it down there today?
It was sunny. So we're in November now, though. So the temperature is getting a little bit lower. We are mid-60s today, and so we're out in Summerlin West, which is elevated, so it's by the mountains, and it's about 7-ish degrees cooler than the Strip is. So the Strip was probably around 70, but man, sun is sun, and that's why we love it here, because even in the wintertime, yeah, it might be 55, but it's sunny out, so it's hoodie and sweat weather. And it's funny because when I first got down here, it was 70 degrees, and people were like, "You're wearing shorts and a tee?" I'm like, "Yeah, like man, when I was a kid, my mom said it's 60 or above, I got to wear shorts, so I'm wearing shorts." But yeah, it's a different heat though, for sure. So.
That's funny. Yeah. So, I mentioned you're in Vegas, and those who are listening probably don't even know what we're talking about. So tell us what you've been up to, man.
Man, I've been on an airplane a lot. So just going back and forth between Tacoma and Vegas. We bought a house here, a little bit about a year ago now. And it's just been one of those things where just been traveling a lot, and I'm by myself a lot, actually, weirdly enough, because Leanne stays in Seattle a lot because she works at SeaTac Airport. So yeah, man, just it's been a cool year though, because of a lot of personal growth, getting to know myself a lot different because I am by myself a couple days a week. So yeah, man, just grinding. Yeah. Yeah.
So what was the motivation behind buying the house down there in Vegas, in Summerlin? What was that motivation?
Yeah. So it's kind of a longer story a little bit, but I can shorten it up. But Lane and I always liked Las Vegas, man. So back in the day, before I was a realtor, before YouTube and stuff, we were always watching HGTV. I think that's probably still on a lot. But everybody was always talking about Vegas, and at that point in our lives, we were like, man, we should move there. We can get a 4-bed, 2.5 bath house for $190,000. We were like, what are we doing? So we always had this in our mind. And when we bought our Proctor house, the one on North Proctor, I told her, I was like, man, this house is perfect. It's a small, cozy house. I was like, I think we should buy in Vegas next, which wasn't our next purchase. But we always had it in our mind, man. And I think it was just for us, it's the sun. Phoenix for us is, that's kind of sleepy over there. We're not crazy, we don't need to see a ton of shows or entertainment, but Vegas just always sat well with us. And we visited here the most, during our marriage. This is where we came the most, just because it was close to home, cheap, and the flight's only a couple hours. So it was perfect, man. So yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell. But this all started a long time ago, thinking we were going to do this.
Okay. So the seeds were planted a while back. So you're selling real estate in both locations, in Tacoma up here and in Vegas and Summerlin. Was that part of the plan too when you guys decided to move down there, or did it just click in your head at one day?
Yeah, so I think initially it was let's just buy a house in Vegas, but that was years ago, right? So I think there was a trip that was in October 2021, which was like, so it was like we were coming, well, still COVID, obviously, but you could travel again, right? And we came here and we stayed on the Strip. We were at Planet Hollywood. And it was the first time we decided to rent a car and go like drive around. And that trip solidified what we were about to do. And we were in our hotel room. I remember this. We were looking at the Bellagio fountain, and Leanne was like, I think I'm going to switch careers and find something that I can potentially, one day we can live in Vegas, full time. Cause I mean, like that is in our cards potentially. And or like just a job that allows us to get there more often. And sure enough, man, she literally, before we left, applied for a job with Alaska Airlines. She got an interview, got that job, and this is how we do it, man. Like, it's the flight benefits. If it wasn't for the flight benefits, we couldn't pull this off.
That's really dope. So what's been the biggest challenge of selling in two markets? I mean, I imagine that the contracts are different. Obviously, the vibe is different. The community is different. You're new down there versus having, like your roots up here. What has been the biggest challenge of going down there and selling? And then also we'll talk about after you've answered that, we'll talk about like what's been the greatest part about it.
Yeah. So I think the biggest challenge for me is I don't know anybody here. Well, now I do, but like I didn't initially. Back home before I was a realtor in Tacoma, dude, I got homies, Derrick's in real estate, Shock's in real estate now. Oh yeah, we'll use Shock. Here I'm brand new. I don't have any connections. I mean, I do know Curtis Terry. He lives here. We were, went to high school together. But like, my point is like not knowing anybody. So starting from zero is a lot harder than even starting with like from zero, but like you have a network. And so like just building that has been the biggest challenge by far. The contracts, there's differences there, but like honestly, it's pretty. I always say it's simpler contracts here. It's like a little tone down. That's just my opinion. Yeah. But like so but the huge difference is, and not necessarily a challenge, is we just got a lot of new construction. So like there's a lot of new construction builders here. I mean, there's a lot of dirt. They're just building. We have resale too, but new construction is a big part of this the business down here.
That's interesting because obviously being up here, that's less of the business because we just don't have place to build up here unless you go to some roars. And even there, building costs so much that it's difficult to keep that up right now in a constrained market. So what's been the biggest thing that you've enjoyed? Like has there been anything that's just been an aha or a surprise for you?
How much I love new construction homes. Like because in Tacoma we have our older homes and they have that charm, that character, and there's a place for that. But man, there's a place for new construction, seeing like these dialed in houses, pools in the backyard. I mean, that for me is a lot of fun. I mean, I get really juiced up by going into these houses. Like they're cool, man. You start dreaming and stuff, man. It's like, it's good living,? And so I think like showcasing that and showing people like, hey, like, look, like, this is possible. Basically, you can have a house like this. It makes more sense to have the pool here than it does in Washington, right? But Kylie, sorry, but I mean, like you're going to use it more here. But so I think for me, the new construction has been the coolest like difference, But I have to say this and I say this about just the environment in regards to like what you experience in both places. Like the desert's awesome, the Northwest is awesome. It's a good mix, man. Like I love the desert. It's sunny all the time, but like you get to Washington, man, you got greenery, you got water. Like it's a good mix. And in real estate, it's a good mix too because we have inventory here. So like people are moving here, but we have inventory, way more than we do in Tacoma. So so there's pros and cons to all this. Yeah.
And when we look at the migration, I mean, like Vegas, man, you can just see it. And I see what you see because I know when you got down there and you were like, man, Summerlin is really dope. And Summerlin is in Henderson for those who not.
Summerlin is in Vegas. Henderson is technically it's outside of Vegas a little bit. So Summerlin's on the west side. Henderson is south of like the Strip area.
Okay, that makes sense because I was looking at the map and I was like, okay, because I'm trying to find my bearings down there too, like the difference between Henderson, Summerlin, and all of that.
For sure.
And so like you can just see in terms of just pop culture in general as well, like from the Sphere
Yep.
to NBA having a team there soon, to new construction, to this urban. Tell us a little bit more about Summerlin, because you talk about that a lot in your content.
Yeah, so like Summerlin's where I'm focusing, right? So like I'll be completely transparent. Like this is the area I know the best. I live here. This is where I am all the time. It would be like North Tacoma, like obviously that's where I live in Tacoma, North Tacoma. But can I sell in Parkland? Yeah, but I'm not an expert in Parkland, right? You know, so it's like it's kind of like that. So, but Summerlin is one of the more desirable neighborhoods. When people move to Vegas, they're always like, is it Summerlin or Henderson I should go to? That's kind of like the debate, and that's when you watch HGTV back in the day, that's all it was Summerlin and Henderson, Summerlin and Henderson. But we're in Summerlin West, which is just west of the 215, which is one of the highways, and it's the newest part of Summerlin. So what's cool about it is it's a mix between suburbia and urban. So like it's not built yet, but up by our townhouse, there's going to be an urban core, and so it's going to be very like walkable. It's going to be able to like it's connected. That the lots aren't as big. Like there's more density, and so they're doing a good job. And it's very well. It's they call it a master plan. So everything's been planned out for years. They adjust things and stuff like that. But like basically, it's designed extremely well, you know. And so But Summerlin it's a vibe. It's hard to explain. But I had my niece here a couple of weeks back, and we were driving, and she was like, Uncle, like, you and Auntie need to live here, like, because it's like you know, there's palm trees, there's suns, there's a freaking awesome mountain to look at, you know. It's a vibe. It's hard to explain, but like everybody that I bring here, my parents, they all get it once they're here. Yeah, they're like, okay, yeah. So.
And those planned communities are really dope. Like some people might not either pay attention to or sleep on them, or they might just like not really mess with it. And I'm like, and so Tahale, we have Tahale up here, and Tahale is super dope, man. Like those planned communities, man, there's a lot of thought that goes into them. I think what some people, not all people, might have a connotation with that, like it's just going to be cookie cutter houses for miles and miles or whatever. And it's just like, no, they're doing such a good job of making these actual communities that feel natural and have a natural flow to them. And like,
that's the best example you just gave. That's exactly pretty much how Summerlin is, and a lot of like Sky Canyon, that's another planned development. There's a lot in Henderson as well. It's just that's what they do here, you know. You know, like there's some old school houses, like especially down by the Strip and things like that. But yeah, everything's like kind of like that, where it's like it is cookie cutter, but it has a good feel, and it doesn't feel like just like houses on houses on houses, you know. So there is that too, though. But
yeah, no, that's really dope. So like,
no, and there's a lot of variety of houses, and that's what I really respect about Summerlin West and Summerlin in general. But like Summerlin West, so Summerlin was one of those areas where like the houses were really large initially, right? We're talking like 3,000-4,000 square feet, you know, like just crazy houses, but. Like the house we're in, it's technically a condo. It's like a townhome. You know, it's 1,400 square feet. It's 2 beds, 2.5 baths, and so they're making more entry level homes here, which I really respect and appreciate, because it's an entry level point to get into this area where it was pretty hard to get into before.
Yeah, and that's what I saw, because I watched some videos of some folks down there that are making content about the Henderson area and Summerlin, and that's one thing that was mentioned is that it's a you know, the price point's a little higher there. And so I just think that it's just a fascinating area, and you got us hip to that. You know, obviously I knew what Henderson was, but I never really considered or looked at anything outside of you know, the Strip or Las Vegas. You know,
most people don't.
Out of ignorance. Just out of ignorance. I just never looked. You know, it just wasn't a thing. So when you're moving, like obviously the weather's different, going from like you mentioned, the greenery, and it's dead, especially at this time of year. It's wet, you know, like there's going to be a little more, although we've had some great weather this fall. Like, there's some days for sure that you're just like, WTF, what's going on, man? This ain't it. But like overall, like yesterday, the day before that, just really nice days.
I was there. I was there. You know, I saw the rain coming in. I was like, I got to get out for a couple days. But hey, I respect the rain more than I ever have because I can get out of it. I think that's part of it. Like, no, but like you see, like I'll be honest, man. Like sometimes though in the summertime, like I was like when we come back and I'll be like, man, we got like a couple rainy random Sundays. I'm like, man, there ain't nothing like a rainy Sunday sometimes in the Northwest. Like you just kind of chill, like drink some coffee, do whatever you want to do, but like just like it's like an excuse to like be inside and like get stuff done, spend time with family. Sure. I don't know, man. Like so there's a place for everything.
That's funny, man, because you can get out of it. I mean, I would look differently at the rain too if I had a place to just go and I knew it was gonna be sunny. And to that point, when you're going in between two places. Is that a mindset shift for you? And how do you shift that mindset going in between both places? Do you have anything that you do, or like, because I mean, that's two drastically different landscapes and habitats, if you will. Yeah.
So like the biggest thing that I had to make a decision on early on was I couldn't let my travel schedule ruin my habits. And that was a big thing for me because like when I used to go on a plane, it's a vacation, right? It's a trip. So you're kind of, sometimes business, but you kind of feel like, okay, like I'm going to eat out more. I'm going to, I can do this. I can skip my workout and whatnot. And I made that conscious effort in the beginning to say, nope, I'm going to stick to my habits because, and sometimes it might not look like, people know that, like in the Abode office, they know that I like to wake up early and I have a routine and things like that.
Right.
I have to be okay. Like last night I got in at 1 a.m. You think I'm going to wake up at 5? Hell no, man. Like I'm not going to do that. I slept in as much as I could and I started my day a little bit later. But I have non-negotiables and they are what they are. And if things have to wait like business, they have to wait a few hours, and that's just the way it is. So that's the biggest thing for me was like, okay, I'm not going to change who I am and my habits because I'm on the road a lot more. And my mom was making the comment, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, because I had a little bit of a cold. She's like, is this your first one? I'm like, yeah, it's my first one since I've been traveling all this much. And she's like, damn. She goes, because you're sticking to what you always stick to. And I'm like, yeah, that's, so you have to. So
I would attribute my not having a cold or anything or getting sick to like being in the steam room 3 to 4 times a week, because that's a goal of mine to be in the steam room or sauna 3 to 4 times a week. I just feel like I have not been sick because of drinking water and just doing all the small shit.
Totally. And let me say this too, Dave, is like, and I just thought about this, but like in the beginning, I used to be like, on the plane, I'm going to work a little bit. So I don't work on the plane. Or well, sometimes like I'll like brainstorm and things like that, but I'll like read, I'll do my affirmations. I'll listen to podcasts. So I do a lot of personal development. Someone commented on Instagram was like, bro, you go through books like it's nothing. It's like, yeah, I got an hour and a half, 2 hour flight weekly, so it's like, that's what I'm doing. So I think it's just like figuring out how to best utilize your time in like different ways and like just so I don't know
that's good, because I mean that mindset piece in between both things, especially in a contracting market like we've had. I mean there's no mystery, we're all down 30 to 40%. And I think that what you're talking about, the mindset stuff is paramount. Do you feel like that's helped you navigate this contraction that we've all felt? Like we've all felt it for sure, but do you feel like what role has that played in terms of navigating this market?
Oh man, it's kept me sane, man. Like I mean, like I think we all have our times where we're like, what the hell is going on, but at the end of the day, it's like it's really kept me calm. I think my stress has been extremely low because of this, and I say this, I think that like the traveling and the mindset and being in 2 markets has just kept me active, man. Like it kept me in motion, and I don't have time to just think like and worry about the market, right? And I think that's really been beneficial for me. And another thing, and this is kind of a side note, but like the reason why I decided to sell in 2 locations when it came about was I had this feeling, which I was late to this, but like I wish I would have got my license here like 2 years ago, because people are moving here and like it's a different market and there's plenty of movement and there's plenty of buyers here still buying.
Yeah.
Side note, we have builders that offer these crazy credits too, where the interest rates aren't that bad, right? But
Yeah.
this kind of goes into like anybody that might be thinking about a second market. It is beneficial because, and especially if the market is different from the one you're currently in. Because in Tacoma, there was a time where we had 0.3 months of inventory, and I was like, man, I got buyers, but I can't get anybody a house. Like, this is so crazy, right? Well, that's when I started thinking, and it was in 2021, because even though like we were getting people into contract and things like that, it was like, I was like, Tacoma's never going to have a lot of inventory. It just, the land is the land, right? We already are built out. We can subdivide, and, we got the Home in Tacoma project, which will hopefully help with this and whatnot. But like, I'm like, damn. Like, so I was looking at, like, is Vegas even a good market? And that kind of goes back to why I got my real estate license here when we wanted to move here or buy a house here too. I'm like, oh shit, people are moving here and they got land for days, So anyways, like, that's like kind of a, like, if anybody's considering a second market, like, maybe look at a market that's different than the one you're in.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. And I want to make it clear for people, because it's like you talking about going back and forth all the time. You're again, you stated it earlier, but your wife Leanne, she works for
Alaska Airlines,
for an airline, so that you're able to do that.
Yeah, people are like, hey, man, how do you fly so much? Your miles must be crazy. I'm like, bro, I wouldn't be flying like this if it wasn't free 99. It's not free. There's like some minimal taxes on it, but like, I mean, it's pretty much free.
Still,
it's like getting a Starbucks coffee. Let's just put it like that.
Great perk, but also the flights aren't they're not terrible.
No.
Like, they're not terrible to Las Vegas. I mean, people pay that much for gas every week, damn near. That's 2 weeks of gas.
Totally. And I do think that, like, in order to sell, this is just from my experience so far here, and it's taken a lot to get going here, and build a brand here and get people behind you. This isn't like it's not a half-assed thing. And what I mean by that is, like, you're not going to live here for 3 months straight and then you're going to go back to your other place for 3 months. That's not really how it's going to work. And I think that it depends on your market, but I think anybody that's really thinking about doing this, you better take that businessman mindset. Like, you're going to be traveling and you're going to be going back and forth, and you're going to be away from your family too. And that's something I had to get used to, because I just never have experienced that before.
Yeah. And there are some folks, so like, and when I think of someone selling in two markets, I think typically I'm thinking of someone that's not actively doing it like you. I think of someone that says, hey, I just want to get my license down in Phoenix because I go down there from time to time, and I might as well, if I'm going to be there for a week, see if I can't do anything there. But if not, then no loss, And so whereas you're actively seeking this out, and I think that's what makes it very fascinating for people that might be listening, or someone that wants to follow your footsteps.
And it's not, and two, like, the decision to sell too, it's more like I don't know, it's fun for me, man. We've had this conversation before. Like, a lot of this stuff is just about the process. It's the game. It's fun. It's not like, oh, I need to sell way more houses. No, like, I just want to do something different. I just want to try something else, and so, and what's crazy is the hardest part is when you're going so hard with a new market is to make sure that people remember you're still selling your current market or your home. I've been like this year, I've had the most repeat business I've had probably ever, right? I mean, like, I think 80 or 90% of my transactions are previous clients, like, that have bought and sold with me before. So I know that I'm doing a good job staying in front of them, but sometimes I feel like people are probably like, oh, yeah, Derrick's saying screw Tacoma because, man, my content is Vegas because I got to get it out there. You know what I mean? But so balancing that is important. And I've gotten way better the second half of the year doing that.
Your content is comedy. The funniest one to me was the one where you're like, cut it out. Cut that shit out. I forget what it was.
Oh, it was something about, like, maybe drinking calories or something like that. Or I don't know, That's the other thing, though. It's like a lot of my content isn't real estate related. So, yeah.
So yeah, talk to us about Shock-ism. What is Shock-ism, and like,
Yeah.
how did that come about?
Yeah, Shock-ism it's been a work in progress, doing all sorts of things. It was starting out like with an online community. It's going to go to coaching. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to help people transform, mentally, physically, soul, like the relationship with themselves, people, their wealth, finances, all sorts of stuff. And so it's all kind of like, it's basically going to be just a podcast, man, of me informing people. Not even informing, that I don't like that word. Just sharing my experiences, because like the thing is, like, what you see today was not who I was a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So I mean, just that continuous growth as a person. It's what I like the most, man. It's like, if like people always are like, thinking about when they retire, like, what are you gonna do, man? I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna keep working on me, because like that shit's fun for me, So I just want to inspire people, man. If I can help a couple people, one person change their life, and yeah, a lot of people. I mean, my homies know, because I went through like different weights and mindsets and stuff like that, and like where I'm at today is just so different than where I was 5-10 years ago, So that I'm just trying to help people that are maybe in a spot of like, man, I should be better, as a person. Like, I should treat myself better. That's what I'm trying to do.
It's crazy, because I think, I would hope you were the different person from 5 to 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, sure. I would hope that you're evolving as a human being.
Yeah.
And the interesting part about the work that you're doing on yourself, and you're sharing it with the world, which is really cool, is that all these things are not like difficult things to do. It's not like it's writing an affirmation or a gratitude. Like, everyone can pick up a pencil. Well, most people can pick up a pencil and write, unless you're Lawrence Taylor. Shout out to Lawrence Taylor. A few people couldn't, if you can't read or write or whatever, then maybe it's not for you. Voice it.
Yeah.
We got Siri now.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But like, put that writing that stuff down. That's easy to do.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, because we think of our brains, it's like garbage in, garbage out, or good stuff in, good stuff out. Your brain is like your body. It's no different. And what you put in there, and we do a really great job of saying great things about other people. Some that we don't know, celebrities, whoever, someone on Instagram. Ooh, they're bad. Oh man, that person did this. But we have a really hard time saying that about ourselves.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think like we have. People don't treat themselves well, man. Like,
right.
And like, and I think that like, and I say this a lot, like the most selfless thing you can do is work on you. And like, I get it. Like a lot of people are, like, can't think that way because they got families they got to take care of. And I understand that, but like, man, your family's going to be more beneficial if you take care of yourself mentally,
100%.
physically, your relationship with yourself, everything, man. Like, I just feel like it's all a work in progress.
Your happiness.
Yeah, your happiness.
Your dopamine hits that you get, so therefore it creates you a happy vibe
at the end of the day, people have to just know that they're in control of their reality, man. And like, you can shape this thing however you want to shape it. You can have a bad one, or can have a great one, and that's on you. And that, affirmations, talking to myself, like that's, writing goals, reading, that's just how you get to this point of like, man, like being way in more control of like your circumstances, and not letting like outside events like dictate how you feel from day to day. Like, and I'm like, and I think that you just got to look within, man. And I think that if anybody can take anything from this, it would just be to just really listen to yourself and work on your relationship with you, because like that, you can't help anybody if you can't help yourself. So
I like that relationship with you. That's real though. Like we have a good relationship with everything else on the cell phone and social media, movies, celebrity, like
for sure.
But how's that with you yourself? I learned. So when you talk about that, your attitude, the first thing that goes to my mind is, there's people out there that have a really there's just hard things going on that they can't control, or they're born in poverty or whatever. But it takes me back to this kid that I used to pick up for my breakfast club on Friday mornings at Foss High School, and I used to pick him up, and his name, and I don't know, I won't share his name, but like I'd pick him up from a motel outside, and he would sleep. And I'd literally pull up to a motel, and he was sleeping on the couch in December.
Yeah. Yeah.
with a hoodie on his head, and he'd get up and got his bag next to him and get up and just get up in the car. And I was like, damn, bro, why don't you sleep inside? Like, he was like, oh, my family's in there, and you know, my grandpa's in there. He's a war vet, and I'm a big dude. I don't want to take up the bed. And this dude had the greatest attitude.
Yeah.
And I'm just telling you, he was a leader. He got there and he was just happy-go-lucky person. And I'm going, this dude is literally sleeping on a couch in 20 to 30 degree weather.
Yeah.
And I learned so much from this person about like resilience.
Yeah.
And this is an 18-year-old kid, and here I am running a real estate company. So I don't know, and that's why I do all that stuff.
Yep.
Is because it's humbling.
Yep.
So I'm like, here I am worried about certain things, and this dude is sleeping on a couch in 20-degree weather.
Yep.
I think I can handle my situation.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. And like when you said it with the attitude, and that's what I mean by reality is like you can frame a situation however you want to frame it, good, bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but and this is one of the things that I've just like learned over time is like just accepting things for what they are, not even labeling them. It's just like, all right, this is a situation. And then like, it's like, okay, how am I going to use this to benefit me? Right. Mm-hmm. And so like the attitude, and that's what it comes down to is like, that's all it is. Cause you can make it be the detriment to you or the reason why you get out of whatever you're in and you make it. So yeah.
And that's good. And the reason why I talk about that a lot is because of the time that we're in.
Yeah.
Or, you know, if people are down on business or if they're, you know, like struggling personally with some things, and just finding that peace. And honestly, I'm selfish about it. Like I think you said something like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm hella selfish about my self-care, man.
Yeah,
I love me some me.
Yeah.
And that Genuine Hustle was earlier this year. I was talking about dating yourself. I date myself every day, damn near.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like that's my me time. I need to go and like hear some music. I get to sweat a little bit. I get to say what's up to some people I really like.
For sure.
It's just a good vibe. I start my day off good every day.
No.
So, you know.
Yeah. No,
really
man.
dope. I mean,
I'll be honest. I love meeting the new me every day, man. I'm like, damn, you know, like I'm a new person. Like it's cool, you know. So yeah, man. I think like just dialing it back, and you know, the thing is just relating it back to real estate is, yeah, we've had a rough go, man. Like, I mean, like I'm like, there's no reason not to talk about it. The one thing that I felt, hey, trust me, I was getting pissed about the interest rates early on. I was like, what are they doing to us? Like like everybody has those moments. Like you're like, what the hell is going on? But I started thinking like worrying about my business is not working on my business. And then if I'm working on my business, but things like still aren't clicking, I'm like, I got to work on myself, right? So like this is where we're at. So you got to be working on something and not worrying about it, because worrying is not going to do anything. So yeah.
That was a gem, man. Worrying about my business is not working on my business.
Yeah, no,
like that's a gem right there. Like, because here's for me, like, and I was talking about this with Ann last night. Like when my back is against the wall, and I know not everyone's me or how I respond, like especially when I usually look at like when I was coaching and I went 2-18 one season, and I was like, I've never lost that much in my life, and I was like, I only know one way to get out of this, and that's just to keep on going. Like, I'm going to show up every single day. I'm going to watch as many DVDs as I can. I don't want to do this again. What happened? Another 2-18 season. And I had to make some hard decisions about people and cut some kids and do some things that I didn't want to really do. But, like, I also had to stand on what I was talking about. Yeah. And then what I do, go back to the lab, try to get better. We're going to get gear. We're going to do it. And we came back a better version, 2-18 again. And bro, I'm telling you, was I broke? I wasn't broken, but I was definitely doubting myself for sure. And what it taught me in that moment is like, how would I respond when my back's in? Now I know it's just basketball and it's just games, but like to me, it meant everything. I was 30 or something like that. It meant everything. But like now as an adult, I see, and also in other things, I see how I would respond when my back is against the wall. And the way I respond is I just go harder. Yeah. So like when I look at the market right now and it's down 30-40%, that's what, you know, or whatever, that means I have to put in 30-40% more time and hours and effort and energy.
Yep. That's
just a fact.
Yeah.
You know, like, sure. and I think that if we're not doing that, then I have to ask myself why.
Yep.
And is it because I'm not in a good mind state to do that? Am I not taking care of myself so that I can go a little bit harder, because it's going to require that? This market's going to require that.
Yep.
And I think that that's one thing to wrap. If anyone listening to this could take something out of that, I mean, you are trying to sell in 2 markets in this market. Like, that's crazy, bro. Like, that's, I mean, do you ever think about that? Like, man, we're in a contracting market. I'm really trying to do it in 2.
Well, I mean, I just think that, like, part of it is looking at the activities that you're doing and, you know, what's working and what's not working. And for me, I mean, like, that's part of the game plan is the 2 markets. And it's like, okay, like, I can't just do what I always do and have the same results, especially in this market. So I gotta think outside the box. Yeah, I mean, like, that's just, you know, and here's the thing too, is that it's really had me focus on what produces and what makes sense. And I've doubled down on the personal brand stuff. We've had this conversation. I mean, like, and not even just like the personal brand, but like just the informing people of like the market, like how to buy houses. Like when we're busy, and I hate that word, but like when we're just going 2021, we're flying, man. We're not even thinking about like, oh, like how are we building our business long term? This is a great time to, if you're not building your business long term now, you're not going to probably ever build your business long term. So, I mean, and it just goes back to activities, man. That's what it goes back to. And I feel like this was a great time. This is a great market to self-reflect and figure out what you need to do if you want to continue to be in this business.
Yeah, well, man, that's a good one to end on, man, because that's good money right there, man. Hopefully people listen and they get something out of that. Now we're gonna move on to the next segment. Are you ready for the next segment? I didn't.
Sure, yeah. I know we probably went long on all the segments, but yeah.
Oh no, we're good. We're making good time. All right, this next segment is called Hot Take. So basically, I'm gonna give you two options. You just pick one, and it's really simple. So all right, here we go. Yeah. Vegas mornings or Vegas evenings?
Ooh, Vegas evenings, man. You know why? Because the sunset, we're on the west, man, the sunset over those mountains. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Vegas evening. Yeah, I like, man, we were in Arizona a couple of weeks ago. The evenings, I was just like, man, this desert life is different.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
All right, t-shirt or a button-up?
Oh, t-shirt.
that was a softball. That was an underhanded joint right there. Movies or books?
Books. Yeah. I wouldn't have said that probably 10 years ago, but like, I mean, I actually, you know what? I've never been a movie person, but I wasn't a book person either. Books for sure.
Natural sweat or sauna sweat?
Man, natural, but I don't sweat that much when I work out. And I don't know if that's because I'm not working out hard enough or if I'm not doing the right activities. But natural sweat, you can't beat a natural sweat, man, when you're just beat, you know? Yeah,
it feels good too.
Yeah.
All right, last one. UW football or UW basketball?
Oh, UW football, bro. I mean, hey, look, when I was in college, it was UW basketball all day long. But like with where we're at right now, you know, it has to be football, bro. You know? Yeah,
we didn't even get a chance to talk about UW and the Dogs and Penix and man, that was a big win last week.
Yeah, so the Pac-12 tournament's at Allegiant Field here in Vegas, so I'm just hoping they make it. But man, I'm telling you right now, I was talking to Colleen about this yesterday. They got to play Oregon, man. I'm nervous because Oregon, that game, we snuck that one out, man. And Oregon's a good football team. They
are good, bro.
Yeah, so that's going to be, good. And they're going to be hot, you know. So yeah,
man. You know what? You know what I'm really thinking about though, man. For real, I'm really thinking about coming down from Vegas for the NBA tournament, man. The play-in tournament is going to be fire this year, bro.
Yeah.
Like players even were like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you watched them last Friday, but last Friday were the first.
Dame, yeah.
They were like, I don't even know what's going on, but it's different. And I was like, yeah, wait till the tournament, bro. Yeah. Like the tournament. Yeah. And just that little wrinkle in the league. So I'm looking forward for tomorrow, for example, because the Lakers are just stinking it up, and tomorrow's their first play-in tournament or their first in-season tournament game. And I'm like, man, y'all better show up because it's against the Suns. And they got their guys back, and I'm like, man, y'all are stinking it up, and you got to play the Suns next. Like, this is gonna be a problem. But it's the in-season tournament game, so you never know what's gonna happen.
No,
were good games.
Yep. Yeah, I know.
So
it's cool that NBA actually thinks like like that. Like let's do some cool new shit though. You know what I mean? Like that's dope to me. Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, and you mentioned it in the beginning, but like NBA stuff is here all the time. Summer League's here. Now they got the tournament. It's like, I wonder where the other team's going. Obviously, it's going to Seattle, and then the expansion.
Yeah, it gotta be Vegas.
It's going to be Vegas, man. But yeah, if you come down, let me know. I got a spare room, bro. So I call it the Shockman Lodge.
That'd be fire. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man, and tell people how they can get in touch with you and how they can tap in with Derrik Shockman.
For sure. So best way is probably at Derrik Shockman on Instagram, and then Derrik at Windermere.com. And Derrik is spelled Derrik.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. And this won't be the last time. So we're gonna tap back in. Maybe we'll do something else in another format or something. But thank y'all for listening in. Inside Abode, 2 markets. If you have any questions for Derrik or myself, make sure you hit us up. I'll put the contact info in the comments down there, so make sure you hit them up. And then with that, we're out. Peace.